How you doing, YouTube's Will from Middle Development. This is my 405th weekly update. This week has gone pretty good. I believe I talked about it last week where I was going to be trying to do some newer things and some different things just to improve my game. And I believe I talked about how my next comp is probably not going to be until December. I'm planning on doing Florida's Strongest Man, finally. And the biggest reason is because this last year, when the show was coming up and I saw the weights for the show, this was the first year I ever looked at the weights and they didn't really scare me. Normally the weights for Florida scared the hell out of me. They just seemed unreachable, just unimaginable weights. And now, you know, I mean, last year I think the yoke for the 175ers was 700 pounds, and that's not that scary to me anymore. I mean, I've done 600 now multiple times in comp, and it's really not that scary of a number to me anymore. You know, that kind of thing. Plus, I mean, like last year they had the farmer's deadlift. I don't remember if you were allowed to use straps or not. My gut says you were. But honestly, if you weren't allowed to use straps on a farmer's deadlift, just for reps, oh, I would have destroyed that event. I think it was like 250 or 260 a hand or something like that, or maybe even 270 a hand. It doesn't matter. I would have demolished that event, just because the grip strength would have never been an issue for me. So just sit there and just fucking rep it out. That would have been easy for me. Now, of course, the press is still an area of sore subject for me, to say the least. But the good news is pressing is actually going very well right now. Hitting numbers, I have recently hit a PR, not at max weight, but max reps, clean and press of an axle. I've been trying to adopt the style of clean that my friend, I can say he's my friend now, CJ Pierce does. And for the longest time, I did kind of the old school axle clean, where you just rip it straight from the floor to your stomach, switch hands, pop it up. And then Andrew Clayton made a point one time where he said, you shouldn't clean from the floor straight to your chest, because if you start at a 13-inch or an 18-inch or a 9-inch, those are all different pull heights. And if you're shorter, which for all intents and purposes I am at 5'8", 5'9", whatever, pulling from 13-inch straight to the chest is actually really challenging, because you don't really have time to make that momentum to get it there. So it's better to sort of work on that clean right at the hips. And so I adopted that style for a while, which basically meant I would deadlift it to the hips, over under, hop it up to here, and then switch the hands over and then pop it again. Now, the way CJ Pierce does his clean is very fast, very efficient, and being a lighter guy, I didn't see a reason why I shouldn't be able to do that. I mean, he competes in the 200s. You know, I'm smaller, so in theory I should be able to be at least a little bit quicker. You know, the proportions are all there. So the way he cleans is goes straight from the floor, wherever it is, right to the hips, but with speed. And then he pops the hips, rotates the hand over to a double overhand, hits the hips again, and goes straight to the rack position. Now, once it gets to a certain weight, I'm not capable of going straight from the hips to the full rack, but I've still successfully been able to integrate that style and get it to the point where I can very quickly pop, and get it to at least here, and then sometimes I have to hold it here and then pop it again. But it's still, it's one of those things I always tell people, you know, when I train them or when I see them training and they're struggling with certain things, trying to keep a particular form that they're trying to keep, it's worth as much and sometimes even more if you're just trying to keep the positioning that you're trying to stay at, rather than just getting through the rep, or even sometimes just doing it perfectly. Because sometimes if you can just do everything perfectly, it might mean that you're not using enough weight. It doesn't always mean that. It just sometimes it means that. And if you're getting to the point where fatigue is setting in and you're having to fight to keep the positioning that you're trying to keep, whatever that is, and I mean squat, deadlift, overhead, it doesn't matter. It applies to everything in my mind. Just fighting to try to keep that proper positioning, even if you don't necessarily get to it, to meet that goal, it's important. So I keep that in mind with myself, where even though, yes, optimally I would like to be able to pop the hip, catch, pop here, and go straight into the clean, from the clean into the rack, I would love to be able to do that. But I'm trying, you know what I mean? And I'm working on trying to get it so where I'm pulling up and then dropping under as quick as I can. And that's worth as much as doing it right sometimes. And for me, with the particular weight I was using on Tuesday, that felt really good. I'm also working on split jerks, which is a new realm for me. They are challenging in a different way. But the cool thing about it is because my split jerk is being worked on, my explosiveness in general is getting better. So I've noticed even on my push presses, a lot of times the power transfer is so much better now. Just because on a split jerk, I'm trying to put enough explosive pressure into the bar to get it to somewhere around here at least. So then I can drop down that other, call it 5 inches to get underneath the bar. And because of that, it's making it so my power transfer just from the chest is so much stronger that now I'm getting it to here, and then lockout's easy for me. So it's working in my favor. Working on these things is just in general making me better. Need to start throwing log in there more because I definitely suck at it. And most comps have a log, so it's definitely something I need to work on. And I will work on it. It's all just coming together. But the cool thing is, like I said, I've adopted that style of axle clean from CJ. And he's just so explosive on everything he does, which is just incredible. And we actually ended up hanging out. I believe I talked about it last week. After Clash, he actually ended up crashing at my place, which was really cool. And we were chatting. We get along. We're friends now, you know what I mean, which is cool. I'm friends with a world champion, you know what I mean. Actually, both 200-pound world champs, because I'm friends with Uncle Nick too, Nikolai Myers. Him and I are friends too, so that's kind of cool to be able to say that. But all that being said, he actually had written a press program, and it was had it available. I forget how long ago now. Maybe about a month ago or so at this point. And it was funny because I had signed up because I was like, hey, he's my friend. I want to support him anyway. I think it was like $25 he was selling it for. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. But anyway, after we were done hanging out for the whole, weekend, basically, he ends up just shooting me over for the email and sending me the press program. So I'm definitely going to be, and what's cool about it is it's 8 weeks, so it's relatively fast. A lot of programs are more like in the realm of 12 weeks. That's generally how I like to program, is 12 weeks worth. So because it's 8 weeks, it's like, okay, cool. I can just, I can run that. That's just 2 months. You know what I mean? I can run that and see what it does. And I'll do what I always do. And I'll just take the things I like from it and then leave the things I didn't like, or the things when I say I didn't like it, I just mean it didn't work for me. Because I've discussed that multiple times about how every program works to some extent. Even the worst ones work to some extent. It's mostly about your ability to stick to it and how much effort you put into it. Even the worst program done with the utmost consistency and intensity put towards it, it'll probably get you somewhere. It might not be the best place you could have ended up, but it'll definitely move you forward in some way. And on that same hand, the best program written, but done with zero intensity and zero consistency, probably won't get you very far, and that's what's really neat about it. Just it really is true. Just showing up and doing the work will get you so much further than any of the little shortcuts you may hear along the way, or people try to sell you. Especially in this industry, they're always trying to sell shortcuts because the reality is it's just at the very end of the day, just hard work is what gets you there, and hard work doesn't even necessarily mean giving 100% every single day. It just means giving 100% over 10 years. You know what I mean? That's really what it is. That's why you'll even hear about people talk about how athletes tend to reach their peak, somewhere in 35 range, age range. When you do the math, most top level and pro athletes usually start training when they're 15. So they've got 20 years of just relatively consistent training under their belt. So of course they're going to be, amazing after 20 years. I mean, imagine doing anything for 20 years. You're going to be good at it. Even if you're not doing it good, you're going to be good at it. It's a joke I always make where it's like, if you just come to the gym for 20 years, you'll just accidentally your way into some certain things. Like, you're going to just eventually accidentally bench 225. You're going to accidentally deadlift 400 pounds, you know what I mean, and squat 315. If you're just in there consistently and even just kind of screwing around, doing the worst programs possible, you're going to accidentally your way into certain numbers. It's just what happens. So then the beauty is when you apply yourself to even a bad program, it'll get you somewhere. And then if you can apply yourself to a good program, it gets you even further. So in terms of where I am this week, like I said, pressing went well. Deadlifts were rough. Luckily, it was a deload week, and I'm giving myself a lot of slack. I did pour like 1,600 pounds of concrete, right? 800, yeah, about 1,600, maybe even a little bit more pounds of concrete on Monday and Tuesday. And it did take more out of me than I thought it did. Because by Wednesday I was like, oh man, my body hurts, and then by Thursday, yesterday, deadlifts, I was like, oh my God, like, it was a deload week, and like 70% even felt like hell to me. So I was like, okay, I think I was supposed to do 18 total reps, and I think I managed to do like 15 at the most. It was probably closer to 12 reps that I was supposed to do out of the 18. And I was just like, I'm done. I gotta go home. I can't do it anymore. My body's just done. And then tonight was supposed to be a strict press day, and I just said, you know what? Doing any kind of compound movement today would probably not be a smart idea. I can feel where my body's at right now. I can feel that it's not muscular. It is definitely like a nervous system kind of burnout. And this might be just one of those, let's just pump the arms kind of day. Just do a bunch of bicep work that you should be doing but never do. Tricep work that you do. And you would have done anyway today. And so that's what I did tonight, and then I'll get some more rest over the weekend and really focus on eating well throughout the weekend and really getting good and hydrated, all that stuff. And yeah, so that's the plan to walk into next week, where I will then probably start the CJ Press program. I may even start it the week after that, just because I'm already 3 weeks into my projected program that I had already written. So I may just finish out this 4 weeks and then just kind of sort of just start everything over. And then I'll just have that 8 weeks to go from. Nothing wrong with that necessarily, right? So yeah, that's the plan right now, and that's how the week went. And man, I don't even know what the lesson is this week. Over the years now, it's like, a lot of the lessons just repeat themselves, but the harsh reality is when it comes to training, that is the lesson. A lot of it's just the same kind of boring shit over and over and over again. You can do a lot of things to make it different and fun, but, at the end of the day, very few things will replace pressing overhead and deadlifting and squats and, benching, not much replaces all those things. So So yeah, repetition's the name of the game, I guess. And the lesson of the week is don't be scared of repetition. If you are, then what's your excuse?